And even though zoos have demonstrated that birds like Sabaya and the California condor can be reproduced in captivity, these efforts are useless if there's no home for them to return to. Now we sincerely hope by presenting Sabaya before you today that he will provide you with a lasting memory of regal beauty, and he will also remind you of the need for habitat conservation. Ready? He comes straight down. He's not up there, not in a million years. Bad, really bad. Right. Up there waiting for us is a bird of prey called the harrison. They're found in the southwestern regions of the United States. They're a bird of prey capable of catching things on the ground as well as in mid-air. Today, we'd like to try and duplicate the thrilling and exciting mid-air attack of one of these birds. Now, normally, their prey would be something like a smaller bird, such as a pigeon, dove, or quail. Naturally, we won't have our harrison attacking anything like that. Instead, we'll be using a small leather object called a lure that will simulate our bird's prey. The butterfly's just for the atmosphere. Here's what's going to happen. A door up there will open. Our harrison will then step out, tuck back his wings and tail feathers, and go into a high-speed dive called the stoop towards the theater. At a given moment, that little leather lure that I was telling you about will be thrown by hand from the top of this structure somewhere out over the audience. That's the thrilling and exciting part. For me, at least. Hopefully the bird will catch the lure in its feet and then fly away. So, young, watch this. She'll be going into a dive close to 80 miles an hour, all the way down. Now watch for that lure. And a perfect catch. All right. How about a nice stand for amazing flying performers? Our volunteer, and of course our talent handlers. That's Mr. Tony Julie and Mr. Ian Barnes. And Jeff the Hoppy. All right, most important of all, we want to thank all of you very much for joining us. Real quick, next thing on your show schedule is a Hawk Talk. That's at 2:30, just outside the theater to your left. Really good chance to see some birds of prey up close. Enjoy the rest of the day here at the Wild Animal Park. Thanks again.
Wait, what else for last night?
Yeah.
No, papi. No, papi.
Oh, she's really young.
No solo elefante y las cosas que no.
Okay.
Fine. We're going on a tour throughout our version of the wilds of Asia and Africa.
No wonder you just
And before we get out to see some of the animals, I have a few brief safety tips to share with you. The doors on the left side, they are safety latched only. They're not really locked. They're not meant to support your body weight, so please don't lean on the doors or play with the latches. We do have anywhere between an 8 and a 40-foot drop off the sides of the train, depending on where we are, and I sure would hate to lose somebody over the side. Please secure your personal possessions, because if you do lose something overboard, I'm afraid it is the very last you will ever see of it. I will not be able to stop and pick it up. Please keep your heads and arms inside the train at all times. And if you'd like to get a better view, feel free to stand up. Just hold on to the handrails. And please do not allow your small children to stand on the seats for their safety. The first animals we're going to see on our tour are the elephants. To the right-hand side of the train, there is an Asian elephant on our right side. He is flapping his ears this afternoon. Elephants flap their ears to keep their bodies cool, which is one reason they have such big ears. They have a pretty big body to cool. We have some more elephants coming up in the front yards on both sides of the train. On the right side are the Asian elephants. On the left side, African elephants. Asian and African elephants do look a lot alike. There are several differences, but I think the quickest way to tell them apart is just to look at their ears. On the left side, the African elephants have the largest ears, in the shape of the continent of Africa. On the right-hand side, the Asian elephants have much smaller ears. Elephants have about 100,000 muscles in their trunks alone. This gives them great strength and dexterity. They can rip a tree out of the ground, and sometimes two, or pick up a sunflower seed from the palm of your hand. One natural behavior that elephants do with their trunks is dusting. They dust their bodies with a lot of dirt, grass, and hay. It protects their skin from sunburn and insect bites. You have one last chance to catch an elephant show today if you'd like. The last show is at 5 o'clock. Elephants have a matriarchal society, which is run by the dominant female. As you can see, overnight camping has come to the Wild Animal Park. With special evening wildlife encounters and early morning walks, it is a fun and unique way to visit the park. We call it the Roar and Snore program. Roar and Snore is one of the best ways to see the lions and tigers, which are nocturnal animals that are awake at night. Out to the right-hand side is your first glimpse into the largest enclosure in the park, East Africa, which is about 100 acres. There's some stork in the foreground at the bottom of the hill, some marabou stork, and way out in the distance in the grass, the gray animals are the common wildebeest. Traditional zoos have hundreds of small enclosures, with a few animals in each. Here at the Wild Animal Park, we do things in the opposite way. We have a few enormous enclosures with hundreds of animals inside. This is how they live together in the wild. It promotes a lot of their natural behaviors, including breeding of endangered species. However, there is one key difference between the park and the wilderness. We only house together vegetarians with vegetarians. We don't put anyone together that might eat one another for lunch. In the heat of the day, we don't usually see much of the carnivores, but you never know, I suppose we could get lucky. Anyway, somewhere out to the right side live the tigers, and somewhere on the left, the lions. To the right-hand side of the train, there is a white Bengal tiger. On the right-hand side, a white tiger. All the way to the rear of the habitat, in the shade, there is a tree that bends diagonally. She's directly underneath that diagonal tree. A white Bengal tiger on our right-hand side near the rear of the habitat under the under the diagonal tree. Her name is, appropriately, Blanca. Tigers are solitary animals. Male and female tiger will hunt together during breeding season, and at that time it is the females that get first choice of the food. But in general, tigers are very solitary, and each tiger will be as far away from the next as it can manage. Lions, on the other hand, are social animals. They form groups called prides. We do get a view of the lions. Let me pull forward a bit, have you look way back over your left shoulder. You see the three tall trees in the habitat. There's a couple lions to the left of the three tall trees in the shade of the shorter palm. To the left of the three tall trees in the shade of the shorter palm. The lion's pride has a dominant male. The male that is dominant can sleep up to 20 hours a day. Well, he can afford to do that because it is the females that do the work. The lioness do both the child rearing and the hunting.
I've seen boys kill them.
That's one of the reasons that lions form prides, so that females can help each other with the work. The male may eat and sleep. The male's main purpose in the lion pride is for breeding. It's good work if you can get it.
We've seen them kill in Africa, the boys, big lions.
Especially when males hunt together, like in bachelor groups
Yeah.
or brother groups.
the buffalo.
Lions are from Africa, of course. However, tigers are not. Tigers are Asian animals. There's no tigers in Africa. On the right-hand side of the train, the large black animals are the notorious African Cape buffalo, well known for being extremely fierce and aggressive. Although here at the park, we find them pretty passive, as long as you don't go near them. Cape buffalo. Little orange animal sitting out there is a Uganda cob, simply spelled K-O-B. Some more African animals coming into view on the left side, and some Asian animals coming into view on the right. Starting with the African zebra on the left first. These are the Grevy zebras. There are several subspecies. This is one of the largest. It may look like zebras have a white stomach, but do not let that fool you. There is a narrow black line that runs along the belly. To answer that age-old question about zebras, they are black animals with white stripes because zebras have solid black skin. Unlike tigers, whose skin is striped just like their fur. So if for some silly reason you were to shave a tiger and a zebra, a shaved tiger would look pretty much the same, still striped. But a shaved zebra would be solid black. Moving on to Asian animals then, to the right-hand side of the train. You'll see the Indian rhinos. You'll see a couple different rhino species throughout our tour. These Indian rhinos are the ones that look like they're wearing armor. It's not really hard plates of armor though, it's just folds of skin. If you were to lift up one of the folds and peek underneath, you would see that the skin inside is quite pink and tender. In fact, when a baby rhino is born, they're quite prone to sunburn. Of the rhinos that you see here, the rightmost one is the largest rhinoceros in the park. She weighs in at about 7,000 pounds. She herself was the first successful Indian rhino calf born here 18 years ago. She is now a 7-time mother. Mother-to-be once again. She's due in October. And she is a grandmother as well. Indian rhinos. Now the little tiny tan gazelles in the foreground in the shade of the tree, those little tiny gazelles, those are Persian goiter gazelle. That's full-grown size. You only get to be 40 pounds. Females have one baby with their first pregnancy and twins every pregnancy thereafter. When they have one baby, it's about 8 pounds at birth. When they have twins, it's 2 5-pounders. That's 8 to 10 pounds a baby for only a 40-pound mother. Persian goiter gazelle. On the left-hand side of the train are some animals in the equine or horse family to our left-hand side. You have to look way up top at the rear fence line. As you can see, these are the largest of the wild ass family. They're called Kiang. They are eastern Kiang from the Himalayan mountains. Now in the wild, they're accustomed to very harsh conditions. They live at 15,000 feet, where there's little vegetation and less oxygen. And here at the park, they do tend to prefer the highest point in their habitat. Quite rare, there are only 8 in the Western Hemisphere. All 8 belong to the Wild Animal Park. 8 certainly is a small number, but last year there were only 4. Kiang. On the right-hand side of the train, we have a rhino on the run and a deer getting out of its way. The rhinos really are pretty light on their feet. They can run about 25 miles an hour. But it is a bit of a problem, and the deer know to get out of the way, because rhinos only see 30 feet in front of them. That's why a group of rhinos is not called a herd, it's called a crash. This rhinoceros is a newcomer. I'm glad to see that she's already following the photo caravan truck, that truck full of people, it's a photo caravan tour. Because the newcomers really don't know our system, so it's nice to see that she's so intelligent that she learns so quickly. The people on the photo caravan tours hand feed the Indian rhinos and the giraffe. That rhinoceros is a newcomer because we have a reputation here as a rhinoceros fertility clinic. And this gal needs help in that department. She's here from the San Francisco Zoo and is 10 years old. She has never been pregnant before. We have another newcomer from the Berlin Zoo in Germany who is 18 years old, never been pregnant before, and we have the 4th zoo that she has been to in an attempt to have a baby. This 10-year-old from San Francisco has been here 5 months. She is 2 months pregnant. The 18-year-old that has been here from the Berlin Zoo has only been here 3 weeks, so it'll take her a little longer. Oh, the deer. Those spotted deer are Indian axis deer at Chital. They're a true spotted deer. They keep their spots their whole lifetimes. They don't lose them when they grow up, like little Bambi did. On the left